Good evening, good evening, good evening. It's Monday night. It's the Plastic Crack podcast, and I'm here tonight.
Yeah, good to see you.
You're now a father-in-law.
I am now a father-in-law, officially, instead of being a sort of part-time one. I now am officially. Yeah, yes. Thank you for all the kind wishes. Had a great time.
Does this mean the weird beers will ramp up as presents? Or...
Do you know what? I went? Yeah. So those who don't know, my now son-in-law takes great delight in buying the weirdest beers he can possibly find to try and poison me. I think it's to get the inheritance. I did reference it in the speech actually. It's so that, you are going to kill me eventually, and he said hopefully.
To inherit 50,000 plastic models.
I know. All this can be yours. Yeah, most bizarre, but no, he oh God, I hope not, Steve. I hope not. You know what was really annoying, because this story, the whole reason why this happened was he was in some shop somewhere and he saw garlic beer.
Oh yes.
And he thought that would be a laugh to buy that, and he gave it to me, and actually it's lovely if you ever try it. It's really, really nice. And so then that really upset him. So then he's now trying to find weirdest shit he can find. Even the sort of stuff that you turn your nose up at, mate. Honestly, even that bad.
Well, that one I had on Friday was absolutely time traveling taxi. It's called absolutely phenomenal. Really, a really nice
taxi.
A really nice hazy IPA.
I've got I've got Spanish lager tonight. It's really nice. Very nice. I think it's Spanish. Or is it Italian?
I got a lovely Suffolk ale. So
good for you. Anyway, sorry, we're all chatting away merrily. I haven't said a lot. So welcome everybody. As I say, this is Monday Night's Plastic Crack. Thanks to everybody joining us tonight, and thanks to everybody on the catch up. We love you as well. As usual, we are sponsored by our friends at Boards and Swords in Derby, purveyors of all your finest wargaming goods and services. And with a wonderful code of PCP5, you can get additional 5% off anything you buy there. So, chaps, how have we been? All well? Everyone happy? Not quite as warm, is it?
It's been really humid down here.
Is it? God, it's been cold here.
Yeah. It's been been reet northern around here.
Oh, must be your side.
Paul says it's complaining and rebellious.
Paul says it's completely damp free in Mercia for a change. There you go. That makes sense. It's always good to know what the moisture content is like for Paul.
Moist, I know. We're used to moistness in Mercia, so it's a bit of a strange
moistness in Mercia, yeah. So he is painting ancient Spanish tonight. Good man. Alid is working on German 15mm tanks.
James wants to bring you a peanut butter marshmallow ice cream bacon stout.
Can I ban somebody from Craiccon as well as the stream?
If that is genuinely real, please do bring it.
If that's genuinely real, please bring it.
Please bring it. Like, we'll just give it to Ken. We'll just tell him it's a milkshake.
Oh, no. 3 minutes late, they'd be flailing around all over the place.
Oh,
you weren't there on his stag dude. He was like a turtle stuck on his back, weren't he? He couldn't get up. We're in this one bar, this German beer bar, and he was on his back, and he was just like this, like trying to get up.
He was a mess and a half. He really was. Ah, dear. David Baker's here. He says, good evening, all. He's painting epic Romans and Space Nam for Space Weirdos.
Oh, cool. Top stuff.
I feel that you may have had an influence there, Steve.
Anytime anyone's playing Space Weirdos is a good time.
Ham and Jam's doing ACW gun carriages. Red Steph is doing more snake rail fences. Don it says, good evening all. No hobbying tonight. He did an audit last night of what I have to paint for Adepticon. So now I'm out with a cigar and tequila on the balcony trying to forget about the numbers. Yeah, because that always works, Don. Always works.
Always works.
Andrew is assembling War Games Atlantic. Hoorah for 5 parsecs.
Cool. Sounds good.
Do I sound like I knew what I was talking about there?
Absolutely not.
No. 999999999 Paydens here. Good evening.
You're right, Grant.
James, we're not talking to, so we'll move on from that. After that thing about that drink, we've got Cordazette. Evening all. He says we've got Nick Games. He's painting French Napoleonic line infantry with black powder. Yeah, I saw you were doing that, Nick, in your little secret project. Suddenly transitioned from 30-Year War and ACW into Napoleonics. Very interesting. John's here. He says, back to stupidly hot today in Miami. Painting scatter terrain. It's coming into their summer, isn't it? God, dear. And he's starting his asterisks and his obelix for Craiccon.
Oh, yes. Yes, he's actually got an asterisk and obelix for it. Yeah.
Oh, dear.
Excellent stuff. The chat group for the Gogovia game is quite amusing. I'm enjoying it.
It explodes. Yes, it explodes. East Norfolk's here. We've got Ian Wrights here. David Benton. Tonight I will be avoiding painting my latest Bacchus 6mm order of ACW. Okay, because I'm feeling masochistic enough to wipe a hairy pen on a... Oh my goodness, I don't think I want to read the rest of that. Well done, David. Lionheart's here. Mike's here. Mike, South Africa. Have we had a South Africa person before? Mike,
possibly not.
Yes, Mike's been on a few times.
Oh, Mike.
Okay. Sorry. I didn't realise he was from South Africa. So good. Welcome. He's starting swinging his paintbrush on first epic Romans. Very good. Benjamin's here. Hoping he won't have to delete too many of my questions for the Friday night quiz at Craiccon. Oh yes, because we're doing weird wars or little-known games, periods and battles that we think should be treated as a potential for a project or two.
Not for us to start, for one of you to start, so we can live vicariously through you, and go. There we go. Thank you for you doing it, so I didn't have to.
Yeah. Exactly that. And you know what? The other thing was, it wasn't our idea to do this as a topic. It's one of you lot. So
I know, completely free.
Can't even blame. We are guilt-free. Fantastic.
Absolutely. Although, can I just ask, did anybody else start looking into it and actually start?
Yeah, I did. I nearly ordered something.
No, me too. It was at the point. I got to the point where I was like, I wonder if anyone does flags. Oh shit, they do.
Oh yeah.
With mine, it was like, I can't get these, because if I wanted, I'd need 2 game systems to play it.
Ooh.
And one of them involves windy boats, and I'm not prepared to go down that road or ocean.
I think with mine, because I hadn't settled on the rules, that sort of stopped me from pressing that buy button, but it may still happen.
No, mine. Yeah. We'll cover it. We'll come
to it. So I hope that we had some brilliant suggestions, by the way, on the Facebook page. A reminder: if you're not already on the Facebook page, then if you use Facebook, sign up. It's great to see everyone's comments, and also increasingly we get lots of input on the stream on there, which is also very helpful because it saves us a job, which is even better. We love that. Miniature Odyssey. Hello, Robin. How you doing, mate? Shellshot Scenics is here. Frank's Miniatures. Tactical Exercises with Toys is here.
Oh, excellent name.
Great name that is.
That reminds me of Dad's Army. Another one they had the tute, don't they, with the field gun.
Yeah.
Oh yes.
Gary Wallace is here. Lego Fax is here. Hello from Nova Scotia, Canada. Hello, mate.
Hello.
What's the weather like in Canada at the moment? I wonder.
Cold.
Probably cold. It's always cold in Canada, isn't it? Cold with bears. Tonight it would be mostly cold with bears.
With chance of bears.
John Carter, evening all. I think this is the first live show I've managed in 2 months. But where's your absence letter, mate? Come on. Yeah, let's show it up. Rich M is here, evening all from a rainy Stratford-on-Avon. Blimey. Gamer Graham is here. Hello, mate. Creating sabots and movement trays to make my shot practice Napoleonics usable for black powder. Good man. We will have that other game, and I will beat you. Andrew's here.
That sounded really threatening. And
It was threatening.
I will
to be
beat
honest.
you.
This time I will beat you soundly. Andrew Smith is here. Looking forward to this episode. One for the butterflies. Yeah, and probably not. Yeah, you can lock up your wallets. It's probably a good idea too. Lazy Pirate Painting is here, working some more 28mm AWI stuff tonight. Getting ready for a game of Black Powder next month. Oh, there were some cracking AWI battle scenes on the Facebook this week.
There were
really good. Epic Armies is here. Evening. All subscribe to the GW's latest 40k part works, Combat Patrol. So putting the first 2 issues figures together. I have no idea what that means.
The magazine. Yes.
The magazine. Yeah.
The magazine.
Okay.
Yeah, where you get these crazy good value. Where you get like what is it, like 20 quid's worth of stuff or 50 quid? It's really good value.
If you say so. Edward East is here. Good evening, mate. Steve Harbour's doing Bavarian Cavalry. Well done, man. Good. Old school FRP. It's boots marching on the table again. Yeah. As Graham said, it's feet on the table. Shrink 7 is here. Walt Hendrickson, hello mate, how you doing? Double Dip, the best name on the internet.
Hey.
The real Steve is here.
Hey.
We've only got fake Steve. Yeah.
Yes.
Joseph is here. He says, good day all from a North Carolina, sunny but a little cooler. Putting together some blood and plunder sailors. Oh God, it's done it again. I've lost another one. Expedoverland. Dave is from Germany. Weaver Fish is here from Sheffield, from Germany to Sheffield, just like that. Marky Sparky, blimey. Yes, James, it was garlic beer, and it was lovely. Made by the company in the Isle of Wight who do all of that. You know, you see it everywhere, that garlic. Brilliant it is. Really nice. Nathan's here. Evening all from myself and Napoleon, the giant house rabbit. You're on the big screen tonight.
Hey.
Hello, Napoleon. Somebody will make a film about him. Big rabbit, I mean. Friends of General Haig is here. Cold and damp. Normal summer in Worcester. Yeah. Tommy B says garlic beer, it's the future. I've tasted it. You're right, mate. It's really tasty. If you get a chance to try it, really get out there. Very nice indeed. Have I got to the bottom yet? I think I might have done. Round Monkey is here. Hello, mate. Evening, a surprisingly warm Derbyshire, painting some 28mm Mexicans. Hey, go. Very nice. Robin Rose is here. It's cloudy and chilly and cold down south. It is cold down south. You're right. It's bloody cold. Oh my God. I've lost. Oh, anyway, I'm going to give up here because it keep jumping right to the bottom. But thank you to everybody coming. Really appreciate it. As I say, tonight we're going to talk about weird wars or little-known wars that people might think is a good option for us to maybe look at as a project. So you have been warned. What have we all been up to? Put my teeth back in. What about you, Martin? You look like you're in the middle of something, so I can disturb you.
Yeah, that's fine. I'll stop doing this flesh. Anyway, so yeah, I managed to do quite a lot this week. Although I haven't managed to finish one load of it because I've run out of wiggly bases.
This is a normal thing for you, isn't it? You every week it's like I've done lots, but I haven't finished any of it. Okay.
Yeah, well, I start something else.
It's like I haven't done my homework. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Like,
So I did. Well, I finished 3 loads of stuff, but it would have been 4 loads of stuff because of Steve. And then the wiggly, and then I'm 1 wiggly base short, and I can't possibly put up what I've done 1 wiggly base short. So that stuff is gonna have to wait. I have made purchases because of Steve. I have planned things because of Steve. So yeah, I'm blaming him entirely. It just kind of all fell together. But no, what I have managed to do. So I finished the next house for the medieval town that I'm building. So there we go. It's just another house with a different type of roof.
Oh,
Very
nice.
nice.
And I those pens, those AK pens for doing the timber frame are amazing. If you have to do scenery or you're doing timber frames, just buy one of those pens. Genuinely, it takes like 3 minutes to go around and do them, and then just whack a wash over and it's done. You don't have to muck around. It really is really simple. There's the other side of it. So more brickwork. Yes, I know. I saw that. I've ordered quite a lot, but I did get a dispatch thing today. So I did have that moment because I've got so many wiggly bases. I thought, do I start a new size of wiggly base? But then I thought that'll upset Ken if I mix wiggly bases on the same project. So I went the other way. So I finished another one of these. So the medieval town, which will probably end up being St Albans and Dunstable. It's just getting more and more buildings. I've got a church to do.
It's going to be London at the rate you've done it, and there's going to be so many.
I know. I'm actually quite chuffed. With how it's coming together. There's a couple of things which I just can't seem to find anywhere, which I'm trying to source, and otherwise I might have to do some scratch building, or just modifying some bits of these. So that's been done. So that was a load of it just paints up so quickly, and then doing the mortar thing that Alex showed me with the wood filler is just such a time saver, and it looks so cool afterwards. It changes the hue, so that hue on that sort of changed for the brickwork on the chimney. So when I base coated it, it looked the same as the roof. It was exactly the same as the roof,
really?
and then just doing but when you put the wood filler, it just adds this sort of it just changes it, smears it, it picks up it makes it go a little bit pinky, which bricks do with like lime mortar, and then you get these other just rougher bits on it. It's really, really good. I actually kind of want a whole brick building just to do the whole thing over it. Speaking of scenery, I built this, which is the Roman marching camp for the epic.
Oh yeah, I saw you made a video on that. Haven't watched it
Yes,
yet.
if anyone would like to go and watch the video after the stream,
After the stream.
Oh, it's not on my channel, is it? If you want to watch it now, it's fine. You could go and have a look. So nice little MDF kit. I was so pleased. I managed to not bugger up any of those flimsy, tiny little legs. What I did find is I have issues taking things out of bags. so I had to get a knife out and cut them out of the bag. I was like, this isn't going to look very good on the video, is it? If I snap the whole thing getting it out of the bag.
I wouldn't recommend that in supermarkets.
No. I don't think you can see it. You can't really. Right. So you see the tiny little flimsy ladders. Bear in mind, of course, it's 13.5 mil or 15 mil or whatever the hell you want to call it. Look at those ladders in there. So I didn't snap any of it. So yeah, the video's live. Go check it out. And that'll be making an appearance in the next battle. Cool. It will be it. I really like the gatehouse as well. To begin with, I was sort of like, oh, it doesn't look that big, and no, it's cool. So that'll be in the next game. And then I'm going to upset Don and bore Dom. But I've done I finished more Dark Angels.
Yay!
So these are, but I just wanted to try out some different kind of painting. So I've tried to do them gloomier and try and keep a simple scheme. But it was the power claws, the lightning claws. I've tried to keep, because I don't know if you remember, I did a fiery power sword before.
Oh yeah.
So I thought I'd keep that theme going, and then obviously they got the checkered pattern, and I've printed off some extra little bits here from. I'm never going to use these in a GW. Probably never even going to use them. I don't know. So I don't care about using sort of third party bits, which I have paid for. They're design bits. I haven't used any like ropey bits like Ken. But yeah, these were fun. Playing around with lots of weathering and grime and that. This guy is probably the one that I'm the most pleased with. I was quite chuffed with him. But
pretty gnarly.
He doesn't look very happy, does he? And I can't imagine he is. The Dark Angels, they're not very happy. So yeah, I've done quite a few of those now. So yeah, that's what I've finished. And then I've got a few more things that are just sitting there at this sort of halfway stage. And like I said, my goal of just getting things done is getting there, but I also keep on starting other things at the same time. I need to get back on. I've got more epics to. I've had my little break.
You started this year with such discipline about your projects, and now
I can't even remember what I was going to do at the start of this year.
I think you said you weren't going to do anything new, if I remember rightly. Something like that. Yeah,
Did I say that?
You were going to go back and fill
I've
out.
done I've done
bullshit on this thing.
1, 2, 3 new system. Yeah, yeah. I did the epic the epic sprues for the ghouls. I've been chopping about a little bit to try and do something more fun with them because I've painted up like three of these, 3 loads of brie, and I'm getting bored to death painting the little.
They are a little boring to paint, aren't they? I mean, there are lots of different variety in colours, but yeah, they are a little bit boring.
The ghouls are. I haven't had the problem with the others. It's the ghouls that I'm having. I think it's because in the back of my head, I know that they're, especially with the ghouls, like this is one unit. This is one unit. If you stick to that basing, all right, smart ass. But no, on top of that, there's been a lot of Craiccon organising going on, and things happening, and a few more things on the channel, and still editing the Soldiers of Napoleon game, which will hopefully be up in the next week or so. So, yeah, that's my week in miniature. Someone else's turn.
How about you, Steve? What you've been up to? I can see what you've been up to. You got it in your hand.
Well, I'll get onto that in a second. It's spiraled out of control, this thing. Right, yeah, Zulus. I've been painting.
That's never ever uttered that phrase on this stream ever.
No,
what's that?
It's spiraled out of control.
So last week on the podcast, I was working on a Zulu command base, and I finished it. So there it is.
Nice.
That's a mixture of Warlord and Peri Zulus, and the chap with the knob curry. I
Careful. Think of the monetization.
I just laugh when I think. That's actually a Peri's body with a Warlord head. So it just goes to show how well they scale together.
That's very cool.
And we had a game on Friday where I got roped in to play a bit of Zulu, and I was watching the video today that I filmed of it, and literally there's about 20 minutes I had to cut out talking about that very weapon. Yeah, we won't go there.
I can't. Steve, because I haven't got any of the Warlord ones. Do any of the Warlord ones have the I don't know what the Zulu name for it is, but the axe? Because I don't remember seeing any on the Peri. I've got loads of them here, and I can't see them. But there is a Zulu axe, and there's some metals.
The box I got is the unmarried impy. There is an axe on there.
Oh, okay. Yeah, there's. I don't think there is in the Peri, or maybe it's on some metals, or I snapped it. That's probably quite possible.
Yeah. So there's one axe on the sprue of the unmarried impies. So that's. I'm currently working on my second Zulu unit at the moment. I also put actually a video. I've started a project log, just to keep me motivated and to make sure that I do want to carry through with this to see how many I can actually paint, because they do paint up quite quickly.
Yeah,
the old Zulus, and the Peri's ones are lovely to paint. Again, really, really quick to paint. So that's what I've been doing Zulu wise. But I decided in the middle of the week I needed a break from painting Zulu. So I've got this thing at the moment where I'm building this odd modular scenery. And it's being built on as you can see, table mats.
Someone's been down to Poundland again, haven't they?
So what I'm doing is I'm making 12 of these, because that will give me a playing surface of just under 3 foot by 3 foot, and it's going to probably just be used for skirmish games. So I've been going through all because I don't like making scenery, but this has been really quite interesting. So that's a temple that I made last week. So that was very cool. That's just 2 pieces of really, really basic scenery that I bought 18 years ago, and I haven't really. They've been used in a couple of games, but I've never actually done anything with them. So I thought I'd just stick them on some table mats and then put a bit of greenery on them.
Nice.
Yeah, that works really well. Perfect for SPQR.
No. So yeah, that's what I'm doing. So I'm working on this at the moment, which is another ruined temple, and I've got another ruined temple here to go. I'm just putting static grass on this. Now, last week when I was doing that temple, I had a bit of an accident with static grass, and I managed to knock an entire tub over myself. And I look like Moss Man from He-Man, because once that stuff sticks to your clothes, it ain't going anywhere. It's not. It was. I had a black t-shirt on, and I was like, the lower half of me was green. It was just awful. But I've bought, I think, 4 or 5 packets of this same static grass over the past 3 weeks. So that's what I'm doing at the moment.
Oh yeah, no, I just thought even on the command frame, it would be cool to just give the Induna an axe.
But yeah. like Martin, I've also been purchasing. So I've bought some couple of the metal command groups from Empress. So they'll hopefully be on the way soon.
Nice.
Did you get a Flashman? Did you buy Flashman?
No, I didn't know.
Oh yeah,
good one from Ben. Yeah, it finally happened. He's turned up himself.
I did look particularly turnipped afterwards. I'm not joking. It was near. Luckily, I managed to save about 90% of it because it was all stuck to me.
That's impressive. Well done.
But I was doing a funny walk out there trying to keep up. Oh, it was just awful. Yeah, so I've got more Zulus planned. I need to buy another couple of boxes of Perrys. And then work some more on this scenery. But yeah, I'm really this Zulu project. I'm really enjoying it. I've even got plans to make a small sort of village as well.
Blimey.
And like I said before we came on, you watch one film a couple of weeks ago, and look what happens.
Oops, it happened.
It's definitely popular at the moment amongst the community. So yes, but that's what I've been up to.
Awesome, what about you, Dom?
I may have done some things. Mike says Zulu axes, as far as he's aware, Zulus didn't use axes in warfare. The Assegai and the clubs were apparently the in thing. Yeah, I think we're agreeing there with that, Mike. It's sort of status thing. I think the axes.
Yeah, no, there's some in a couple of the museums that the Indunas would use. And there's some sketches that the people who were when they were laying siege to a Shoei, and the British didn't really have anything else to do at that point apart from get disease and drink tea. There's some really, really cool sketches, and it basically has he's got this line of Zulus, you can see it, but it's quite clearly this guy out in front going like this with the axe. So yeah, get disease, eat biscuits, and that. So
that sounds like our summer. Nothing to do, drink tea and get diseases.
Well done, David. The opposite of Dark Side of the Moon lyrics. Grass was on the lunatic. Very good. Well. Yes. So for me, this will come as a real surprise to anybody that I have mostly been doing ACW.
Really?
And when I say mostly, I mean entirely ACW. Please tell me you were doing them at the head table at the wedding. Please. I just even if you just snuck one in and you were doing like just a little bit, that would have been.
I very nearly did take a little bit of glue and sort of said, no, I did not. I did not, Martin. I'm sorry to upset you, but I did not do it.
I wouldn't have blamed you. I'd have let you do
it. Yeah, but you wouldn't have to put up with all the women in my family who would absolutely, they would use the knife in a way that you really wouldn't want to be used.
I had a games room at my wedding so that the kids would be entertained, and that had like games, board games, had a couple of war games that had Nintendos, and by the end of the evening, it was all the adults that are in there.
Oh yeah, I can believe that. Yeah, I can believe that. Geez. Yes. So I have. Well, we'll just crack to it, shall we? There's a regiment done.
Oh, nice.
Paul, you're right. It's their fault, definitely. This time, nothing to do with me, mate. Nothing to do with me. So I think that's the New York Volunteers. I think the flag, anyway.
Oh, cool.
So that was them, which was kind of cool. I quite enjoyed that. And then I just did another one. Nice. Why not, really? So I did.
Are those ones all Sabbats?
They are. I did them single based because I thought I might want some skirmishable ones. So when I was painting them up, I thought I'll do them on single bases. Although a couple of them look a bit wonky there. So I did them. Actually, these ones are weird because I said Mad Sean left me a whole load of figures to when he came around here once, and these were part of them. And what I hadn't realised was not only was the load already assembled, but some of them had actually been part painted. I know they can't have been by him because they weren't very well done. But basically just the base colours on a few figures, like really bad. You know how the figures that look like they've been in a cupboard for about 6 years ago, they were like that. So, but I thought, right, I'll just touch them up. So that's what I did. And that's what all of those have just been. Basically, they had various stages of. Some of them had trousers, some of them had jackets, some of them had belts. A bit like Ken Stag do, really. So I just finished them off, really, which was So that was quite quick and easy. And then I did a Confederate General. No idea what manufacturer that is, but I think it's a very old sculpt. I have no idea where it came from.
The main thing is, Dom, he's got a beard.
He's got a beard. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and he's on a horse, and he's got binoculars. If you're not pointing and you've got binoculars, then those are the two criteria for being an officer, I think, in wargaming. And then because I didn't want to sort of just be
just painted someone with binoculars in a minute.
There you go. And I thought I'd better do another rebel Confederate regiment. So that's another Texas one. So I've gone with the ragtag again. I know everyone says, they weren't necessarily always ragtag, but they look cool being ragtag.
They look better like that.
What's this? What?
It's one of the things. It's one of the big arguments that. Oh, Martin, you think button counters are bad in Napoleonics? They are a million times worse than HCWs. It's extraordinary, and the big thing that everyone rows about most, apart from colour of trousers and colour of jackets, is whether Confederates were really as ragtag as they're made out to be. So people say no, they weren't. They actually had really good supply lines of equipment, blah blah blah. But I don't care. They look cool as a ragtag bunch.
Sorry, it doesn't matter what side you're on. You shit yourself in your trousers. You're ragtag.
I would say, and also it doesn't matter what side you're on. By the time you've been in the field for a couple of years, you would. You would.
Yeah, I can also say that if I was lined up walking towards people firing muskets at me, my trousers would not be the original colour about 35 seconds later. So
I'm with you, Steve. Absolutely with you. Yeah. So it's been, and I did actually have a little solo game of ACW the other day, which was kind of fun, using black powder. That worked pretty well, actually. Quite enjoyed it.
Do you remember when I got called out in the? Oh, sorry, that's just reminded me in one of those Napoleonic groups because I spattered like mud and that over the trousers, and also I put a little bit of. I even put some the odd sort of blood because I added a casualty, didn't I? I had a casualty on the front row, that warlord one that's doing that.
Oh yeah.
Sorry, the guys near him. I didn't sort of slap the blood god over them. I didn't drench them, but I put some. I thought, oh, that's a chance for some weathering, and I got slaughtered like he did.
What was the what?
Well, the initial comments were something along the lines of, they would clean, before they go into battle, you would try, when you're on parade, you would try and clean. I'm like, yeah, but there's a guy next to him that's been shot. It was like that the other command base did, not the one where the guy was getting bayoneted that Dom got upset about. The other one I did where I had a casualty figure and I just thought, the whole point of the diorama, the command base was like it wasn't meant to be nice. It was meant to be like a horror war type thing, but not gratuitous. It was meant to be a realistic way. And then I got called out on the forum because they said it was too realistic looking because I added like a little bit of bone into it. And I was like, what? So I left that group.
No, it's extraordinary. Don, I wasn't having a go, honestly, mate. I don't know whether you're taking it seriously. You're taking the mickey, but there you go.
I like that. We suggested button knot is not so much a colour. Yes,
I think that's the best thing said about the whole thing. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so that was. I've been really enjoying doing them, and I keep looking at all the epic stuff and thinking I really want to have a game with the epic, but I've got to paint some of the little buggers, so I need to get on with them. Anyway, so yeah, that's what I've been up to. And tonight, if I ever get 5 minutes, I'm mostly assembling yet more ACW figures. So there you go. Jesus. There we go. Yeah, there we go. David says, Private Jenkins, why are you muddy? Clean that uniform at once. Getting shot at by the French is no excuse for slovenliness. Absolutely. That's what it is. Cool. So we've all been busy bees. And as I said before, loving seeing all the work people are putting on their various projects, putting them up on the Facebook page. So please keep doing that, and also showing the battles you've been doing, because they're great to see. And remember, at the end of the stream, if we don't overrun too much, we'll feature a few pictures of people's work, because we love seeing everybody's bits and bobs. Huggy docky.
We like seeing their miniatures, their bits
figures.
and bobs. They can keep to themselves.
Okay. Yeah, they did come out wrong.
And that's a Facebook group you have to answer more than 3 questions to get into, believe me.
Well, I think if you get caught, you have to answer a few questions. I mean, there's many, and the answers are recorded.
Oh dear. All right. Okay. Right. Tonight's topic: weird little wars, or weird little known wars, was actually what we were talking about. So the idea, this came from, I don't know who it was, and I did mean to look it up, but I was too busy today and I couldn't find it. But somebody did make this suggestion as a topic, so thank you very much. And if anybody has any other suggestions for topics, always happy to hear them. Really good to hear. So the idea behind this was sort of periods or wars or conflicts that you just think you'd heard about and you thought, oh, that would make a really good project, a really good little game or series of games to play out on. Yeah, I have to say there's some amazing suggestions on the Facebook page, and quite a few of them I had to go and look up. I had no idea what they were, so that was kind of fun. And that's the point of it, right? Something you haven't heard about. History is such a vast topic, and I think we're very very focused on some of the bigger conflicts, and sometimes there's some other things going on, particularly other parts of the world from where we live, that are amazing things to, would be amazing projects to work through. So what I thought we'd do is we'll work through sort of ideas that maybe we'll do Martin and Steve's suggestions first of all, what they think, then I'll look through some of the comments and do the news, and then we'll come back and do mine and other people's comments and do it that way. Then we break it up a bit. So that's all right with everyone. Yeah. Lots of people have been putting stuff in the chat, so keep doing that. That's really good to see as well. Martin, do you want to start? What's your little war?
Well, it's not really little. So I approached this from a slightly different way, and I thought there must be stuff out there that is just, I think it's just really underrepresented. And I went on Twitter for the first time. It's all right. I used my wife's Twitter account. I didn't go on myself, and there's a lot of ropey shit on there. Like there is some ropey shit on there. Anyway, so my entry, I thought I wanted something that I thought you can get figures for, that doesn't really seem to be gamed, but that people, maybe someone's looking for that project, and I thought, well, I'm going to go medieval because
obviously
it's me, and maybe there's people out there who are looking for a medieval project, and I put this forward as a possibility. So mine is the Polish-Lithuanian Teutonic War.
Cool. Yes.
Right. Which culminates with the biggest battle in medieval Europe, bigger than Towton, bigger than all that, which is the Battle of Grunwald, which is where the Teutonic Order is not exactly wiped out, but they don't come out of it very well.
There's not much left by the end of it.
But you've got rampaging Teutonic knights against pagan sort of Poles and Slavs, and then you've got the Polish-Lithuanian alliance. You've got Tartars, and you've got this massive battle, and there's so many little conflicts around it that you could very easily wargame it. Lots of what if scenarios, and you could have a massive showdown if you got a few people into it. Because I tried to count up the belligerents. Okay, are you ready for this?
Yeah.
Right. So the belligerents on the Teutonic side is the Teutonic state the Kingdom of Denmark, and the Holy Roman Empire. The Teutonic state is split down into lots of like sub-states. On the other side, you have the Kingdom of Poland, the Grand Duchy of Lithuania, and the Golden Horde. So all of those, again, broken down. Now, you've got basically the whole sort of push of the war is essentially what originally started is, I hate this term, but the Christianization of pagans in that area, and everything leading. So I was basically looking at the Battle of Grunwald, so I was like, that would be cool. Do you know the only person I found online who's done, like on Twitter, who's really done stuff for this? No. It was Duncan Rhodes.
Really?
Yes. He did it for a he did like a small Teutonic Order force for in sort of, I think it was 2019, 2020 for either Lion Rampant or Saga, because they have a Teutonic battle board, don't they?
Of course they do.
So,
yeah.
He did a thing for that. Now I'll come on to models and that in a second, but let's set. Should we set the scene?
Go for it.
I found pictures. Obviously not from the day. So let's there we go. Let's just chuck something up to be. So the whole, basically my thing was you could basically build forces for the Battle of Grunwald, and you'd be able to use them for this whole period. And it's not just this 2-year war. They were at each other's throats for ages. Mm-hmm. They hate each other, and they're all back. It's like the Wars of Roses. Now, if talk about time, the Battle of Grunwald was in 1410. So you're covered pretty well by all of the early, the early and the later 100 Years War stuff. You can use some of the later stuff, but so all of those Perry kits are usable. Fireforge kits are usable as well. Awesome. And I've seen some awesome stuff that's come out on 3D printing. There's 3D printing, the Northern Crusade 3D printing tribe. They've got loads of stuff that you could use. There's gunpowder. They had and this as well. So, for your cannons and that as well. And basically, so Grunwald is a village in northern Poland. And it, like everything, it was kind of a bit of an accident that the battle was fought there. And again, they argue about it, that the Polish-Lithuanians number about 50,000, and the Teutonic German Knights are about 40,000. So it is still one of the massive battles, and it is a crushing defeat for the Teutonic Order. And the battle swings; it's a 10-hour battle, and it swings backwards and forwards. There's double crossing. There's stupidity, which you'd expect in the medieval battle.
It's a medieval.
Now, unfortunately, throughout history, there's been a lot of propaganda associated with the battle for all sides. It's particularly some certain people in the middle of the 20th century. But there's quite a lot of stuff that's coming out now, documentary research and that's kind of shining new light on things, which is quite cool. So, and also those of you, I'm going to forget his name wrong, and then I'm going to get slaughtered. Jan Zitska was part of the battle. The one-eyed.
Oh yeah.
He was in the battle as well. And as part of the mercenary corps on the Polish-Lithuanian side. You've got it just visually. I think it would look awesome. Now, the majority of the battle, I think, is cavalry, but there is a big infantry support and all that. And there's lots of sieges while this battle is going on. There's lots of little actions that you could take. So you could use Lion Rampant, or never mind the bill hooks, or things if you wanted these small things, or Hail Caesar. Play the kind of games that that I played outside. And the whole battle, this is what I really like. There's this idea that the battle is initiated by the Grand Master of the Teutonic Knights, which is Ulrich von Unigen. What's his name? And he sent two knights. Because basically the armies were facing off against each other. They just kind of lined up with each other and just sat there looking at each other, waiting to see who was going to do the first move. And they sat there for like hours. And then Unigen sent 2 of his knights carrying pulled out swords and a message that essentially trying to taunt the Polish, because they didn't want to start the fighting. And so there's this sort of like image of them presenting these 2 pulled swords, the Grunwald swords. And then because they annihilated the Teutonic, they basically taunted them and then lost. And these swords ended up as like a symbol on flags and on money, and they only went missing sort of in the I think they went missing when the Russians like raided something.
Yeah.
Which I thought was just quite interesting. So there are a lot of figures that you can do a nice war, but with no wings. Yeah, it's just pre-wings.
Yeah.
But without going into, there's loads of stuff on the details of the battle, and there's a lot of swings. So essentially, the Polish attack first. They get sort of goaded into attacking, and then they go barreling down the hill. They then have a big clash. The Teutonic Knights start pushing them back and counterattack. There's this argument about whether the Polish light cavalry were doing a feint, a la sort of Hastings kind of thing, or did they just run off? Then the von Unigen did a Richard III and thought that he would charge the Polish or the Lithuanian king. I can't remember which one it is now. And he does, and they start beating them. But then this light cavalry turns up again behind him, and he gets brutally killed. A lot of the Teutonic Knight leaders were killed. But what's really cool about this battle, the Polish captured loads of the Teutonic flags, and there's this one chap who made a really good record of them, and you've got all of their captured flags done, and there's companies that have just copied this now. So you've got a really good idea. So I
love the fact you've gone this far. You've already got the flags planned. I love it.
Yeah.
That's
So
awesome.
there's loads of that. Well, if you want another thing, look, Osprey got you covered with a Teutonic Knight versus Lithuanian warrior. So you wouldn't be able to really use the Crusader, like the Fireforge typical great arms. You are talking like the beaky helmets.
Yeah.
But purvey shields, lots of crossbows. You got your Perry English army stuff. I see a lot of people. I say a lot of people. What you could do is like give the bowmen spears and things, and just mix them in. Lots of axes and stuff like that. I mean, essentially, the Teutonic Order end up completely humiliated and have to sort of take a bow when they leave the battlefield, and then they bugger off to their fortress at Marienburg, and then they lay siege to that. But again, you've got the Holy Roman Empire that's sort of skirting the edges, and you've got all these little states that are changing powers. And it just struck me, I never see war games set in that period in Europe. You have 30 Years' War, which obviously is set later, and or you have people are looking at Agincourt, maybe French Burgundian. I'm starting to see more French Burgundian, but I was like, if you push it just a little bit further towards the Baltic, you have the Northern Crusades that happened. People are looking for crusade projects, but want to do something a bit different. Look at the Northern Crusades. Do your crusading stuff, but in the snow. And
back with snow again, Steve.
I know, back to my snow.
I know.
Well, I honestly think that this would be an amazing project, because you could use the models to cover that whole period from, I think it is from about 1380 to about 1420. They're just constantly changing sides and at war. So much so I tried to chart roughly who was on whose side, and I gave up. I genuinely did.
But that's the beauty of any project like that, isn't it? Because you could do one nation or one side, and it would just you could use it against anybody. It'd be brilliant.
I think I just really do feel that there is a really good, someone wants to do something medieval but doesn't want to do War of the Roses, because everyone does War of the Roses. Don't want to do Agincourt because it's French and English. There we go. What about the Battle of Grunwald and the Lithuanian Polish Teutonic War? War Games Atlantic are going to have that Agincourt set coming out. You could do it in 10 mil. You could repurpose those models. There's going to be some cool looking knights. You could repurpose that stuff. That would look very, very cool.
The good news, folks, is all Martin's affiliate links are down in the description down below, where you can buy all the figures for this project immediately.
There is, I recommend going and checking out it's called Northern Crusades on My Mini Factory. They have a huge selection of stuff, including a lot of the characters in this. Check out about Ulrich von Unigen. The guy's mental.
What a name!
He only became head of the Teutonic Order about 3 years beforehand, when his brother pegged it, and his brother was quite a good diplomat. And the Teutonic, it's really mad. You think the Teutonic Order, people go on about the Knights Templar and the way they function, and the Teutonic Order was obviously founded as another holy order, but they essentially owned a country. They owned a principality.
They did.
And they they regularly just sort of rode around, just like, we're going to do reprisals. Reprisals for what? No one's done anything. And I just think, especially considering the battle did send shockwaves through Europe. It really did. 5 years later, it's kind of eclipsed, especially here, by Agincourt.
Yeah.
And then later on by other battles in the 100 Years' War. But in terms of that part of Europe, it completely changed the playing field for who was in charge in that area, and the rise of the Polish-Lithuanian forces as the dominant forces. And then you've got the Tartars, and I know you like that kind of warfare, Dom, don't you? So you imagine having, like, the Teutonic Order. You've got your really good opposing armies in terms of, you've got a nice military ordered army, lots of special rules, but smaller. That always works well. And then there's not a horde army, but you've got the Lithuanians who've got lots of light horse and archers. You've got Slavic mercenaries. Shopping basket. I bought it. I was just curious. And you've got the sort of mercenaries with Jan Zitska in there, and then you've got the Polish who've got like a lot of infantry, and they've got heavy cavalry as well, but without wings. And then you've got Tartars in there. So you've got this really varied force. And it did remind me of my Crusade project, whereas you've got, very, not rigid, but formulaic Crusader units. You've got the Normans, the heavy cavalry, and then the Seljuks. You've got all these Seljuks and Turks. You've got lots and lots of units, around like lots of colour. Yeah. And so Little Big Men Studios do flags. Battle Flag do transfers for the horsey blankets comparison.
Horsey blankets.
The horsey blankets. And I suppose, really, if you wanted to get the Fireforge stuff and use the Teutonic heads, because they've got Teutonic knights, you could just swap the heads around, or ultimately, it's a Teutonic knight. If it looks like a Teutonic knight, it looks like a Teutonic knight. So horse curtains, yes, I like that. So that was my one. And
he was up. Nathan's with you on this one. Apparently, he's already done this for a Bill Hooks project. He used Perry Agincourt French knights and French infantry for it.
Yeah. Absolutely, and their War Games Atlantic are doing their peasant stuff soon, which are going to be usable. I know they're Barons War, but they're going to be usable across the board. So yeah, that's my is essentially the Battle of Grunwald.
Sam says a friend of his went to a reenactment in Poland. Apparently thousands of reenactors and visitors in blistering heat.
Well, that sounds like the battle itself. So the battle was really, really hot, and then there was a cannonade at the start from the Teutonic Order. So pre-Agincourt, where they had like one cannon. No, by Fire and Sword is later, slightly later, they cannonade, and then it rained. And then it got really hot again. So they're all in their armor, really humid. But some of these knights were sitting in their horses for like 6 hours before they charged. I just think it would be an awesome, a really cool project. And I want someone to do it, so I don't have to.
Okay. Suggestions in the comments about who should do it, apart from us. There you go.
I think it should be someone who hasn't tackled something medieval yet, who's looking for that thing, who wants to do something a bit different. Him there.
I'm not doing that.
Brilliant stuff. Awesome. I love that. That's a real cracker. Yeah, First Corps as well, apparently, is another company that would probably be very good for that. First Corps have...
I got one. Funny names. The left wing of the Teutonic Order was led by someone called Frederick Wallenrod.
We're not going to smirk, children.
That's happened to us all at some point, hasn't it?
It certainly has. Awesome. Love that suggestion. What about you, Steve? What's your idea?
I took a slightly different...
It could be a whole war. This could be just a battle.
Well, it's just because the one I've chosen has only got 2 battles. It's the Pastry War.
Pastry War. Okay. Hit us with this one.
Starts off, it's 1838, and a French chap owns a bakery just outside Mexico City, and it's looted by some Mexican soldiers, and this is quite common at the time. There's a sizable population of French people living in and around Mexico City at this time, and there's a fair bit of friction. And but when like overseas nationals, when they have their property damaged, there's not much recourse for them. There's not much they can do about it. No, but it should be. So anyway, this French chap, he owns a bakery, and it's looted by these Mexican soldiers. And so he complains. He writes to the emperor back in France, and he says, "I want some restitution here because they've broken my shop." So the emperor says, that's fine. So he gets in contact with the Mexican government and says, yeah, you need to pay that guy over there 600,000 pesos, even though his shop's only worth like 1,000 pesos. But, this is how much you've got to pay him. And so the Mexicans go, tell you what, how about we don't do that? We're not paying 600,000 pesos. So... So the French do what anybody else would do when that's been turned down. They blockaded all the ports on the Yucatan. So
there you go, French getting carried away again.
So they just blockaded all the ports, so they couldn't get any imports in. They started smuggling through Texas, but the Texans weren't too chuffed about this because they didn't want to be caught aiding smuggling into Mexico. So they chased them out, and they even gave one of their ships to lent one of their ships to the French for this blockade. And so the first battle is the French attack the biggest port on the coast, which is Veracruz. And that's protected by quite a big fort. So that's your first battle right there. Your first game, windy boat game. French ships fighting against a fort, and so the fort it puts up a good fight, but ultimately it's defeated, and there's big explosions from ammunition caches and things like that. And so the Mexicans come out and say, look, can we have a bit of a truce? We need to go and speak to the main man to see what his orders are. So the French say, you've got, until so-and-so in the morning. They hear nothing. So the French commander gets a bit annoyed and says, right, if you don't answer us now, we're going to level the entire, just destroy everything. So the Mexicans just... There's loads of boats. So the Mexicans surrender. And they sign this thing. But the French haven't got enough people to garrison what's left of this fort. So they just leave 1,000 Mexican soldiers there. Love it. So it gets back to the Mexican government. This fort has fallen, and so they dispatch an army of 3,200 men to Veracruz, and they occupy Veracruz, and the French inhabitants go and hide in what's left of the fort. But in retribution for this fort being taken, they expel all the French people from Mexico. But then this is where it gets interesting. This is where it really piques my interest. So you've got the Mexican army garrisoning Veracruz, and the French do a morning raid to retake it. And as I was reading about this, this it's not really a battle as such. It's more of a big skirmish. I just thought of Blood and Plunder. I thought Blood and Plunder would work so well because you wouldn't even have to do the whole. You could do a small part because it was essentially street fighting with cannons and horses. The best anecdote is that the leader of the Mexican army in Veracruz, a guy called Santa Anna. No, they don't.
Oh yeah. That's Santa Anna.
Santa Annas are all everywhere, aren't they?
Is it the same Santa Anna?
It must be the same one.
It's just a guy with a leg.
Yeah. The Alamo Santa Anna.
No, this is a different guy. So in the fighting at to retake Veracruz, this guy he gets wounded. He gets shot off his horse by grape shot, and they have to amputate his leg. But they buried his leg with full military honors.
Like it. That's classy.
Right.
Like that.
And then after that, so the French capture Veracruz again, and the British broker a peace. It's very, very.
That's unusual for the British to broker a peace. I know. They're going to kick their heads in. Anyway, that's good. Lovely.
And so the it turns out that the Mexicans promised to pay the French these 600,000 pesos, but they just never do.
So essentially, this is just all over a croissant.
It is. Yeah, the pastry wars because a bakery got smashed up.
This reminds me so much of. You heard about the Pig War?
Oh yes,
Pig War, which is in 1859, which was a war that never actually happened, but came very close to a major war between Great Britain and the United States.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Over a pig, a dead pig. It didn't actually happen in the end, but it came very, very close. So same with your pastry war.
Yeah. So so the belligerents about 3,000 each side. The casualties weren't very high. I think that the Mexican army, the port, they only. I think they didn't. I think overall the casualties were. I think the French only lost about 54 men, and the Mexicans lost about 250. So.
Apparently, that was an amateur. Apparently, Dan Sickles put his amputated leg in the Smithsonian and went every year to have a drink with it. I like that. That kind
I don't know whether.
What about? I used a chap who's in the university in London. He's actually in it in the glass case. Keep going. I'll find it. He's actually sitting in it. No, jeez, no.
Yeah, so I try to choose the war that as soon as I saw the pastry war, I was like, yeah, I'm interested in this. I just like even the name alone.
It'd only been better if it'd been the Scotch Egg War.
The Scotch Egg Wars, yes. But I just thought, how you could apply it to the. I mean, it wouldn't be a very, very big campaign, but it'd be a game of sort of the Windy Boat game. That's in Jeremy Bentham.
Yeah.
And then Blood and Plunder. I don't know where you'd get the figure. I'm not familiar with the period at all, so I don't know where the hell you'd get the figures from.
He still attends meetings as present, but not voting.
That's awesome. That is awesome.
But funny enough, when I was looking
Ken on this stream, isn't it? Sorry,
I did find the Northern Crusades, and it sounded quite interesting. I remember
they are.
Do you remember? I remember I watched an episode. They go up in the Medieval Dead, and they found a knight who'd been buried. I think it was in Lithuania. And bearing in mind how long ago this was, when they took him out of his thing, like big casket coffin type thing, he still had flesh and internal organs.
Ooh, really?
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
Put a camera in him. You could see his liver. It was just. I think they sealed him up and sent him back anyway. But yeah, that was the Northern Crusades. To be fair, I found some pretty obscure wars. Really, really obscure.
There's some awesome wars. There's some awesome wars to think about. Mind you, I love Don's comment. It said super interesting, but I'm taking points away from Steve for not having any photographs or while just gesticulating.
I couldn't find any photographs. There were some paintings.
Pop against me.
I think that was a pop against both of you. To be fair.
But it was just largely the paintings were just the battle, the naval, but it wasn't really a naval battle. It was the French Navy against a fort. But yeah, I just thought it was interesting. It's something I never knew existed before. I think it kicked off later again, 1871. I think they were knocking crap out of each other again a couple of years later. But just goes to show, never ever mess with another man's bakery. You don't know what's going to lead to.
Don't touch that crumpet. That's all I'm saying.
But yeah, as soon as I was reading the accounts from the attack on Veracruz, I just thought, Blood and Plunder would be absolutely ideal for this. James, make it so.
Yeah, go for it. I think that's an awesome. I like that. Both those really good suggestions. I like them a lot.
It's rare that we actually we get like something like and very different as well.
I know.
Very, very different. Okay. Well, look, crikey, we're an hour and 5 minutes in. Blimey. Shall we do some news and then do some comments from the people put on the Facebook page, and then I'll do my one. And then we'll see what time we got to do some comments elsewhere. I think that's probably the best thing to do. So let me find the wonderful the horrible soundtrack, which is better than it was. I love the fact Steve's given up entirely on any news and actually now walks off with it.
Yeah, he goes to get his drink. Yeah. He recharges. He recharges.
He recharges his. Yeah. So, what have you found, Martin? Anything exciting?
Depends on what excites you. So, I found some stuff for the expensive, curious Star Wars game, which I'm still.
Shut up.
Yeah, that's it. So they've now got the we don't need their scum unit pack, which has got Boba Fett and Bosk in it, and IG whatever that is, and the other guy,
IG-88 and Dengar.
That's it. Dengar, not Rendar. Sorry. And then This Is the Way, which is the Mandalorian stuff. And then there's a couple of other packs, but so it must be doing well.
Yeah.
I'm still curious. I just want to play with someone else's models and not buy any myself. So yeah,
I did watch a battle report a couple of weeks back, and it looks good. It looks really good. It's just the price scares me. It absolutely terrifies me.
Yeah. I'm very on a similar wavelength, and again, I just kind of want someone else to buy it, paint it, and I'll play. That's kind of where I am with that. Dystopian Wars, that whole thing of just preview. Well, this is out on the 29th, I think, or it was either August or September, so it might actually just be out now. I'm not sure, or it's later. So this is Armored.
Interesting.
This is Armored Clash. Now, this is essentially their epic 40k. So this is the Battle for Singapore. And it's I can't now remember what it is now. It's the Empire versus the Crown. That's it. And you get two nice looking forces. I couldn't get a better image than that. You get a couple of buildings, and it's a nice little starter set for I can't remember how much it is now. I think it was, I want to say 80 quid or something like that. But if you're splitting it with a friend, but I just, again, if someone's looking for something a little bit different, there's lots of different armies and forces. And this is actually all on the Boards and Swords website, who sponsor this podcast. So if you go on there and put PCP5 and you order this, you get another 5% off. So that's the thing. I did have a picture of some V&V models, some Greeks.
Oh, nice.
Which they're now doing, which look cool. They look very Greek. I don't really know what else to say. They look good. They look Greek.
Yeah.
There you go.
It's a multi-part resin, and they stick to my everywhere when I'm trying to glue them. That's it.
Your bits and bobs.
I was going to say that, but I thought better not, because I've already been told off once for that.
I did see this, which I thought was a bit of fun. So this is anyone who's looking for a novelty calendar and likes role play games. There is the calendar of many adventures that's coming out, which includes every month you've got your calendar, and then you've got a battle map at the top.
Oh, right.
So you can do your encounters for July, which I just thought was quite fun. They also make wrapping paper.
Love it.
Which I thought was nice. So that's you kind of. I had a little look at what you'd put up, and you've pretty much got everything else. So it's not been no, you're talking about that, so I won't bother. Yeah, you start.
You can do. Right. Go on,
No. Well, they're just there's been an announcement about the second edition of
that one
of another game. Yes,
that one.
Yes,
second edition.
That game, which will come roll on to something we need to talk about in a moment
later on.
Yeah.
So I think it was Alex. I think talked about it in a video, but I think there's also been demoed at one of the LARD events. So the new version of Chain of Command is coming. Don't know when, don't know where, but soon. Probably in the new year. Probably best guess Easter time. They always seem to launch things around Easter, don't they?
Yeah, I'd say Easter.
Round salute time, maybe. So So get ready for that. Again, bit like Bolt Action, I believe it's sort of more of a bringing together of all the FAQs and a few amendments to rules that have sort of maybe a bit dated or what have you, rather than a complete rework of the rules.
Is everyone as eggy about it as they were?
Oh, I'm sure everyone's eggy about it. Well, probably not, actually. Everyone got, it's been years since it's been updated, hasn't it? So that's that. I've lost the other one, but there's a number of really nice figures coming out of North Star again. These are for AWI, a range of German figures for the AWI period. So these are, I guess, the Hessian Grenadiers.
They look really lanky. They look nice, but are those 28?
Chunkiness, are they? Usually they're very chunky, their figures. And that,
they look cool.
Who was the maniac who had the Potsdam Giant? That's what they remind me of. It was basically it was a regiment of really tall chaps. I think he was.
Yes.
I think he was mad.
Well, a lot of them were, to be fair.
Well, yeah. They're called the.
Was that the Russians? Russian guards were all had to be a certain height, didn't they? And then they put the big, Shaco things on top and made them even taller, so they looked like they were 8 foot tall or something stupid.
I think the Potsdam Giant was more of a vanity thing. He just wanted a regiment full of long people like myself.
You would have fitted in perfect.
Yeah, I missed out my true calling there.
There we go. There's also some Jaegers. They look pretty good as well.
Oh, they're nice.
Like them too. Little 6-man unit, which is just what you need for shot practice or muskets and tomahawks. And then is that the same lot? No, I think that's a different lot. They're very nice too. So yeah, I'd say. You're right. They're a bit more lanky than.
They look
normal.
nice. They look good. It's just like you say, they're normally quite.
Yeah,
chunky.
I think so. Usually they are, as you say. But yeah, no, but I like them. They're very nice. They always paint up really nicely. Also, Warlords announced a few more new ranges coming out. Well, not ranges, but some new figures coming out. So some new Napoleonics coming out the way. 28 mils. Now, I expected these to be Warlord resin, but they're not. They're metal.
What?
Yeah, when you actually look at them, because I thought they'd be resin, but as I say, when you actually go in and look, it says they're white metal. So there's some Prussian artillery, Portuguese cavalry, which is kind of cool. I mean, they're absolutely terrible in the Napoleonic War, but it's nice to have them in your army. You've got some Spanish horse guns down there at the bottom. Some Young Guard command, and then there's more Young Guard, and then another British rocket. Which, as I say, I'm expecting that because the rocket is pretty good. They've got already. Sorry, we shouldn't say. Should have warned Martin before I mentioned rocket, shouldn't I?
I don't mind that rocket. The other rocket models, one of the guys climbing up it, is a brilliant model.
Yeah, it's lovely.
But I suppose it's not very. If you're doing a battery of them, then you don't want the same things.
No, true.
It's quite cool. Because I might pick that up then because I've got the guy from the Leahy Sunset who's setting a rocket off on the ground.
Yeah.
That's cool. Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah. I mean, expensive, $22.50, but there you go.
How much?
$22.50 for that model, but it is one of those. It's not sort of generally available, is it? I think it's one of those ones you can't even get through a third party because it's cast to order effectively.
Oh, right.
I believe. Okay. And then also to get ready for the new bolt action, some new Hungarians. So Hungarian gendarme battalion section there, some border guards. Mountain infantry. Put my teeth in. Tank crews, and also a number of their tanks, which are rather cool as well. So, yeah, nice to see a few more figures coming through. And maybe it was an error on their website, but definitely they all said white metal. So I would have expected them to have been the resin. I think that's everything one other. So I don't think we featured any of these before, but War Bases, as you know, when Glenn was on here some time ago, he talked about the figures that they produced. So they've been slowly producing a number of sort of fantasy figures as well as his Wild West figures. But also there's this dragon.
that looks like something Warren would paint.
Yes.
Doesn't it?
Did it say that's
cool.
the biggest thing they've made to date?
It's something like that. Yes, it's a 3-part resin.
But when you look at it at the top, it looks kind of cute on that first one. It's like, oh, look. And then you look at the bottom, you're like, no, I'm going to ruin your day.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
It's one of those, you call me cute and I'm going to, yeah. So, so there you go. Check out War Bases for their figures as well as all their awesome bits of MDF and other stuff. I think that's all I saw.
Okay. Should we say announce as well? David just pointed it out in the chat that Bacchus are now shipping their Italian Wars range. So those, and I think there was some interest in that when we were chatting about things before. So those of you who maybe want to do something at 6mm with lots of pikes, you can go and have a look at that.
6mm Lands Connect. What could go wrong?
If you say rocket 3 times, just summon Paul Hicks.
He's chickened out at getting that one. And Paul in the chat, I know Paul's got the Perry one. So they've chickened out of it. Although, as I said to Paul, I said, I know people maybe think, we play things up for laughs on here. Genuinely, that wasn't played up. That was the single most horrific modeling experience that I've had. And I said to Paul, I think the only thing that was worse is when I was trying to stick together a demon, a Lord of Change that was all metal when I was 12, using like the glue, like the super glue you buy in the corner shop. It was horrendous. Awesome. We've just got a couple of Craiccon announcements. So first of all, a big thank you to everyone who ordered dice. We went to order the dice.
You spoiled it for us.
Yes, because there were so many. We've had to go with an alternative colour that had enough in stock to actually do it. So that's amazing. Thank you so much. Those of you who want to order dice who aren't coming to Craiccon will have the opportunity afterwards. And all of that money will also still go to the charity as well. Speaking of the charity, we're going to keep on going on about this because it's such an awesome thing, and we've raised so much money over the last few years of doing this. But we any donations for the raffle are greatly received. We've already received a few bits and bobs, but any of you, those projects that haven't gone anywhere, or anyone who wants to donate something, it can be books, it can be wargame related. We've had people donate art before, gift vouchers, anything. It all goes to a very, very worthy cause. Please just send us a message or email us or get in touch. And if you're coming on the day, bring it with you, or just let us know you got some stuff. That would be amazing. Please do. I hope the new dice color is tartan. No, but no, it's not, Robin. But it is a color that I know you have a problem with. So, good. I know you
deliberately chose that color.
Yes, no, I have got it's an issue. We have got another announcement, and I think he is still in the chat. So unfortunately, Alex Storm of Steel is now unable to attend for circumstances beyond ours and his control, which means that the people who are down for playing Chain of Command with Alex currently don't have a person to run it. Now, Alex passes on his apologies, but it's really something that he can't avoid. Now, before we go cancelling any games or any tables, which we obviously don't want to do, if there is anyone who would like to run, who knows how to run Chain of Command,
someone who knows
more important, because we could give you Ken. Yeah. And this is the alternative. You can have Ken run Chain of Command. Then if there is someone who wants to step into the breach, please get in touch with us. We do have some alternative ideas. We're going to keep it World War II. And everyone who is booked in on that table will obviously, a bit like what happens, because unfortunately the boat game went the same way, you will automatically have a place on there. Now, Dom's new Napoleonic extravaganza is filling up very, very fast, but as soon as you've got like a 12-foot by 12
I'd just like to clarify, I'm not putting a shit ton of figures on there. There's going to be a lot of figures in, but there's not going to be everything from this place.
No, we're going to make Ken.
Napoleonic extravaganza.
Well, he hasn't told me what it is yet, and I had to give it a name. I had to give it a name. That's a good good shout.
Yeah, that's a good
invite
idea.
Warwick and Piers to run Battle Group. No, it could be. Yeah, that could be a good one. But yeah, we've got some ideas. But let us know if you are if you want to. There are openings in some other games as well, but of course we want to keep the number of games up and keep everything going. So once again, apologies for that. We are working towards a satisfactory conclusion. The unsatisfactory conclusion being Ken. And
if anybody wants to complain about it, please write to our manager of complaints, which is Ken, brother Ken, care of the community hospital in Southampton.
I spoke to him today. He's full of joy and very tired.
I saw him the other day. He came up to the club. He was actually on good form. He didn't want to play a game though. He just wanted to sit there and heckle. So
is he still ginger?
Yeah, he's still ginger, obviously.
Oh, okay.
So never change.
There we go. So yeah. So there is the news. It's just trying to think if there's anything else for Craiccon. I don't think there is. I think everything else is pretty much
moving along,
pretty much going. So yes, any questions, just shoot them our way.
Super duper. There you go. So yeah, well, I think we've done remarkably well. We're up to Craiccon 5, and I think this is the first time we've had games drop out actually, which is kind of amazing. But there you go. But poor old Alex, he just couldn't do it, which is a real shame. But there you go. I know he will be back, as they say. Right. I'm going to do my project, and then we'll do the comments. Because so a reminder, this was sort of ideas of if you just joined the stream, there's 160 of you out there. Please hit the like, and if you haven't subscribed to our channels, please do. All the links are down below, and all that shill stuff is out there. Right, I am going to talk about a war, a conflict that I mentioned to these guys once because I found it on a YouTube video, and I thought,
I know what this is. I know.
So, blimey, where is it? There's one clue. Oh no, that's not you. That's your one. That's my
one. Yeah, no, I put that one up getting confused because I was like, that's in the middle of my pictures.
Yeah, I was going to say, where did that one go? Oh, the other one's disappeared. But there's one. There's a clue. And where's the other clue gone? Here we go. There's the other clue. So the one I picked up on. So Don, you'll like this because I've got visuals. There you go. Is this one? Portuguese-Ottoman conflicts, which went on for 22 years, which is extraordinary, really. So this was a series of conflicts that went on basically across the Indian Ocean and the Red Sea and the Horn of Africa and Persia. It was the most extraordinary thing. So the Portuguese were in full colonial mode, sort of setting up trade and exploiting all the different nations around that area, and bumped into the Ottomans. In initial days, it was Mamluks rather than the pure Ottomans. And the first battle, which was around the siege of Diu in 1538, actually featured Mamluks without horses fighting on ships against Portuguese with gunpowder. Yeah, there's a topic for you, right? Yeah. So, needless to say, the Mamluks weren't very good in ships, and also because the Turks hadn't really invested in any kind of shipping in any kind of big way. So the Portuguese, with their ocean-going ships with cannons on board, did rather cause a mess of the Ottomans and their Indian allies. But series of campaigns, some really interesting ones. Well worth. There's a series of videos actually that goes through this whole conflict, and if you want to waste a couple of hours one afternoon, it's well worth just watching the videos because it's just absolutely fascinating to see. And it was a real sort of typical conflict between The Portuguese trying to exploit and take advantage of their sort of technology advantage versus those that didn't have quite such sophisticated weaponry, and slowly the Ottomans getting their shit together basically and coming after the Portuguese. But it kind of ended up as a bit of a stalemate. The Portuguese ended up as sort of maintaining their control over Persia and the Indian Ocean, but the Ottomans had huge influence as a result in the Red Sea. Really interesting conflict, but a lot of it was on sea, so we don't want to do boaty games, do we? So the bit that interested me most was the Ethiopian campaign, which is, it says there, 1541 to 1543. Fascinating conflict.
Have you done a fucking collage?
I have. Yes, mate. You can see how close I was to ordering figures. I've gone in and found all the fucking.
This is what you do every project. You do a bloody idea wall.
Yeah.
Just throwing something out there. If this isn't on Dom's desk within the next 6 months, I will be very, very, very
happening,
surprised.
mate. It's happening. It's happening. It's happening. It is going to happen. Absolutely no doubt about it. Especially when I saw those Eureka miniature Portuguese. They're just extraordinarily good. Yes, what? Listen, I had a company all hands meeting this morning, and I just, I had something to do in that. It's so boring. This was an amazing conflict. So basically, this, long story short, this was the Ethiopian was a Christian kingdom, was surrounded by lots of Muslim kingdoms and had exploited them for years and years and years, and not unreasonably, they got a bit shitty with that. They asked for aid from the Ottomans, who equipped them with muskets and various other things. And basically, they came in and kicked the snot out of the Ethiopians. The Ethiopians then appealed for help from the Portuguese, who, as we saw in the previous thing, were all over this area, colonizing and exploiting. Portuguese sent some troops, mainly arquebusiers and sword and buckler men, who then proceeded to knock the shit out of the Turco Muslim forces, and it went backwards and forwards. Basically, number of conflicts, number of battles, but it's brilliant because you've got Turkish musketeers, pikemen, cavalry. You've got some tribesmen with spears and muskets. You've got Portuguese with muskets and swords, and it's just awesome. So that's the one I looked at. And as it says here, there's you can use the War Games Atlantic Conquistador packs because they're about the right sort of. They look pretty much like the Portuguese would have done. They also got some cavalry coming, I believe, fairly soon.
They do.
So that's a possibility. Eureka do an amazing range of figures for it.
I always forget about Eureka. For some reason.
I do too. And they're lovely. They're really, really nice figures. At a pinch, you could use the Sudanese tribesmen from the Peris for some of those local Ethiopian and Muslim swordsmen and spearmen, I guess, possibly. But Empress do some that are absolutely perfect for this period. A number of them done by Mr. Hicks. And there's lots of Ottoman figures out. I guess, again, at a pinch, you could use the Blessed Peris Egyptian, sort of their Ottoman figures from the Napoleonic period, if you don't look too closely. They would work pretty much. And the assault group also has some figures that sort of work, as do a real step back in time. The Essex range has some really good figures. I think it's just waiting to happen, Steve. It's waiting to happen. So the next question is rules.
I was going to say, Dom, this is like the Bruises and Ireland Mark II.
Oh, it's going to happen, mate. It's on its way. It's going to happen. So the only thing that held me back a little bit was the rule set. So I thought, well, how do because you got to have the rules and got to know how you can play the game, right? So I thought, well, you could use any kind of Renaissance-y type rules that sort of work. Men would be king, that would work because that's colonial type troops. Because what you want is, cannons and muskets against swords and bows, really. So that would sort of work. Sharp practice would be a doozy. But also, I thought black powder, because having had the game of Zulu the other day, which is basically pointy sticks against guns, that would work quite well as well. So I think I could see myself doing a sharp practice, mutating into a black powder for this. I really could see heading that way, or maybe pike and shot, or
what about just adapting muskets and tomahawks?
That would work too. Yeah. Yeah, actually, that would probably work. Yeah, that would work quite well as well. Yeah. There you go.
Cool.
That was my suggestion. Bit of different.
Like it.
And I thought it was kind of fun.
I like that.
Yeah, something.
I'll be honest.
I've
never heard of that before. Never.
I only heard of it because Dom mentioned it.
Because I mentioned it. It's been festering in there.
Did you say there's a video series on? Is it?
Yeah, it's hang on, I'll tell you who it is exactly. It's one of those historical channel,
or like Kings and Generals and things like that.
Yeah, Kings and Generals. That's exactly it.
Is that it? Oh, brilliant! I love their videos. Oh,
yeah,
their videos.
Kings and Generals. They did a whole series of it. It's an hour and 21 minutes long, but it takes you through the entire conflict between the Ottomans and the Portuguese. Fascinating.
Yeah, they done one on Grimwald as well, Steve. Why didn't you get on all of it?
Imagine in 2 weeks' time. So, Steve, what you've been painting? I've been painting Ottomans and knights. Yeah, I can't see it happening, to be fair.
No. Lanchdick says Old Glory Miniatures has low quality miniatures for this period. Thank you. I shall look them out. Donnybrook Dom. Is that a new rule set that I should look into? Yeah, actually, I did think of that, Paul. I did think that might work well. And Impetuous Baroque also. Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, and Blood and Plunder was another one that people are suggesting, which I thought could be a possibility. But then I've got to learn new rules, and you know how good I am with that. And it takes me 6 months, and then I move on to something else. So yeah, I think it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting. So it's definitely happening. That's all I'm saying. It's definitely happening. Just a question of when. I mean, you know, why wouldn't you? There you go. Oh jeez, you know, let's say no, never mind. Right, so that was our suggestions. So what were your suggestions? That's what I want to know. There were some really good ones on the Facebook page, so I'm going to just have a look on here because, so as I say, some of these I genuinely had to go and look up because I had no idea what they were, which I think is a great sign of any good war. I think if it's something you've never heard of at all. So the first one that Dermot came in with almost immediately after I posted it, which I know is dear to your heart, Steve, the Great Emu War.
Yeah, so I still haven't painted up my massive collection of Emu Wars.
Do you want to give the listeners and the viewers a 5-second explanation of the Emu War?
Yeah, it's a 6mm game where you have machine guns at one side and a vast army of emus at the other, and you run towards the machine guns.
There you go.
It's like a more interesting version of the Napoleonic Wars.
Harsh, but probably true. Yeah, but will you get the feather color right? That's the
oh god, yeah. You gotta make sure. There's plumage counters out there all over the place.
John Sowerby suggested, he said not so much a war as a 3-day raid, but Jameson's raid in South Africa, which actually is a really fascinating one. Chris, the history guy who was on here last year, I think it was, has done some really interesting videos on some of the conflicts in South Africa, and Jameson raid, I know, is one that he did. Really, really interesting. Yeah, good shout, I think, on that one. Oh my god, there's a load more. We did the Chaco War, although some people must game that. Chaco War. I didn't look that one up, so I don't know which one that one is. He's also suggested some of the more unusual theatres in World War II, which is true. I think, you know, actually Alex just said not many people war game World War II. I think they do, Alex, but I think some people don't do the more obscure ones, like actually John's suggestion, Invasion of Syria, Allies versus Vichy, which is kind of an interesting one. It was a really good squad leader game of that, from what I remember. Matthew Wright suggested the Flagstaff War. Anyone know what that one is? I had to look this one up. The Flagstaff War.
No.
So it was set in it was in New Zealand. It was between the Maoris and the British. Fought over a flagstaff. There you go. I'll let you go and investigate that one. But that's an interesting one. And did somebody do some Maori figures recently? Or did I make that up? Can't remember.
Surprised it wasn't you. It was probably you. You've probably forgotten.
Probably. Andy suggested the Cod Wars. You definitely need your boats for that one, wouldn't you? The 38-minute war from David Bouquet.
Oh, wasn't that the it involves Zanzibar? Basically it was just I think the British just fired a couple of naval guns at the palace and they surrendered. 38 minutes, I think it lasted. I've been to parties long.
Anglo-Zanzibar War.
Yeah, that's the one.
It lasted between 38 and 45 minutes. Which is kind of would be kind of ironic that it would take you about 6 months to build the figures and do the game, that for a conflict that lasted that long. Oh, there you go. Yes, Jason says Empress make Maori. I knew I'd seen them somewhere. In fact, John says that Empress themselves do the Flagstaff War miniatures. There you go.
What the hell?
Just go buy them from there. There you go. Victor is a man after my own heart, but he's gone a little bit later. He has said the Portuguese colonial wars, Bush Wars, 1962 to 1974, in 4 different African countries at the same time. There you go.
Blimey.
Now, I do know a little bit, because when I was in the Azores earlier this year, there was a museum on the island I was on, which had loads of shit from. It wasn't that bad from that conflict. So that's an interesting one. Yeah. Battle of Murbat. This is Robin. He must be causing trouble here. Oh no, communist guerrillas targeting an Imam government position. There you go. Don't know.
Wasn't it the one Ken was talking about?
Was that Ken?
What? Or last Craiccon?
With the SAS? Or am I completely out there?
Oh, you could be right. You could be right. Yeah.
Right, the name just rang a bell when you said it was in Oman. I think that's where it was set.
Paul Richardson says the Clang Wars of 1867 to 1874. Anyone know what that one is?
No.
This is like Benjamin's history challenge. This one, isn't it? So this was conflict in Malaya. Sorry, it was a civil war between a series of conflicts that lasted between 1867 to 1874 in the Malayan state of Sengalore and the Malayan Peninsula. There you go. I think figures might be a challenge for that one, Paul. I'm not going to lie. I think that could be a real challenge.
So, yes, we have it verified. Ken came up to Matt at the curry house and said, please tell me you've heard of Murbat, despite the fact he hadn't heard of it till 2 p.m. that day.
You're absolutely right.
I knew the name rang a bell, Murbat. And then I instantly thought of Ken for some reason, which is kind of traumatic.
Oh, jeez. Peter's got the Pig War in here, which was one I just talked about earlier, which is a fascinating what-if war, which is really good. David suggested the Second Schleswig conflict, which I think was just before the Franco-Prussian War, I think, somewhere around there. And somebody does figures for them as well, from what I remember. There we go. It's a good one for you, Martin. The Swabian War, of 1499, the last major armed conflict between the Swiss and the House of Habsburg. You always like go kicking shit out of things with pointy sticks, don't you?
Yeah, pointy sticks.
There we go.
Always
That's goodie. I quite like that one as well. People came up with a couple of them, which I think is more in the sort of theme of this, but not periods that necessarily don't get gamed, but you don't see very often at all. And that's the Spanish Civil War and the Russian Civil War, which you can actually get quite a lot of decent figures for both. In fact, you can get an awful lot of good figures for both, but you don't really see them being gamed very much. Ever tried that period, Steve, or more Second World War kind of man?
No, not really.
Played some Russian Civil War once. We actually had some homebrew rules, which I kind of liked. I really enjoyed it because it's sort of, you can use a lot of World War One figures for it, which is kind of cool. And you can have all the different, bit like you were talking about with your conflict, Martin. You can have different sort of groups from different parts all coming in. You've got the anarchists. No, that's the Spanish Civil War. You've got the Reds and Whites. You've got the Cossacks. You've got the Ukrainians. You've got all sorts of things going on, which is really kind of cool.
That just rung a bell because when we were coming back from the Curry House last year in Derby, I think Benjamin and John were talking about it. They were in front of me as I was languishing behind with a knackered back. But they were discussing how to game that.
Yeah, I think it'd be good. Actually, as James says, the Russian Civil War, you can involve armoured trains, which is kind of, everyone likes an armoured train. They're really cool.
Especially Ken.
Oh, and Robin says there's a fantastic Chain of War supplement for Spanish Civil War. There you go. There we go. Yeah, interesting stuff. So what else we got? I'll just skim through a few more because there were masses of them. So thank you for everybody. If you want to check out some ideas, lots of suggestions for New Zealand wars. Lots of suggestions. That's definitely something that everybody here, a number of people should be doing by the look of it, because there's so many people talking about.
If anyone does start a project based off of something they've heard tonight, just let us know. Post it in the group,
please.
And just make a point in saying it, because it would be awesome to know if it has clicked with someone who maybe you had been thinking about it and you've seen more, or if there's something in here that's inspired you to pick up, let us know, because that would be awesome.
Fantastic. Robert Smith, isn't he in the Cure? Something I've never seen was the Manchu conquest of the Ming dynasty. Certainly has plenty of big actions. Certainly did. That's a fascinating one. That's sort of heading into my Mongol interest period around that area. I think it's fantastic. There's some big old battles for that sort of period in time. Von Kettering Fraser said the football wars of 1969 between El Salvador and Honduras. That was a thing, wasn't it? That was
actually happened. I think it was a very contentious football match.
Yeah,
I think it ended 3-2 or something. And, rather than go to the pub afterwards like most people did, they had a war instead.
Yeah, they had a little war about it.
I always thought it was traditional to go for a couple of pints, jump on the train home. No, it's get the war going.
Oh, my goodness. Edward suggested, what about, it's not really a war again, but the little-known conflict around Fishguard, which is kind of an interesting one. That was the French invading, was it Norfolk? Wherever it was. Something like that. I can't remember. So, yeah, that's a nice suggestion. Some really... I'm not sure how you play that one out, but there you go. What was your one with the French invading, Martin? Little-known conflict you were going to do involving was it medieval period where the French were coming in? I forget now.
Oh, do you mean the thing in Norwich?
Yeah, maybe that. Yes, that was the one.
No,
yeah.
that's the Ket's Rebellion, where a bunch of Norfolk peasants take Norwich, beat the Earl of Northampton's army, and then Warwick, but a different Warwick, the Warwick in the reign of Edward VI, turns up with his army, and he's just hired a shitload of Landsknechts to go. so they line up outside Norwich. And this Norfolk peasant army who have got soldiers and that in them take on these really bored Landsknechts, and what they do is they'd had all the even this would look cool as a game though, to be fair. They have all like the rich men of Norwich, and they basically the peasants stand them in front of their lines, thinking this will stop the Landsknechts from shooting, and the Landsknechts just cannon them all. And then there's just a massive, not very fun battle for the peasants as the Landsknechts just minced them. Basically,
it was probably a training session for them, wasn't it?
I think they were just well bored. I think they just kind of got in fight, just like it. And if they beat the Earl of Northampton's army, so the Earl of Warwick says, it's going to bring Landsknechts. Just going to bring Landsknechts.
Oh, Jesus. Actually, Dave had a good shout out, which is a real conflict I don't think I've ever seen gamed. The Malayan emergency, 1948 to 1960. Guerrilla war fought in British Malaya between the communist fighters and British Empire and colonial and Commonwealth forces. It's sort of like a British Vietnam. Interesting. One of my godfathers, which was sent there on national service. It's a bit of a bummer.
I was going to say, you don't really expect that on national service.
Not really, no. He caught malaria. It was never the same again. Which I guess is better than the alternative, catching a bullet or something. There you go. The Benjamin suggestion: the Polish and Baltic states' war for independence after World War One. Interesting. That's something because you could use all different different types of figures for that, because you presumably use World War One equipment and figures to represent the different nationalities. That'd be kind of fun. The Anglo-Nepalese War would be interesting. There's a suggestion from David. There's quite a lot of conflicts around colonial exploitation.
Anglo-Nepalese. Is there anyone that we've not had a war with?
Oh, we've had a disagreement with everybody. Let's be honest. It doesn't matter who it is. We're going to have a row with them about something. Not these days. I mean, we got about 3 men and 4 ships, haven't we, nowadays?
Surprised we haven't had the Anglo-Salvation Army War yet.
So some of the other suggestions that people came up with, I know this is definitely happening in Steve's life at some time. Sam said he is currently working on painting up the War of the Triple Alliance Paraguayans. It's going to happen, Steve. You know it is. You protest too much.
I've thought. I'll be honest. I've thought about it, but I know that I can't paint white, so that instantly precludes me from even starting one of those armies.
You could cover them in mud, or in your case, green flock, maybe.
Yeah, covering static grass.
Peter suggested my little known war is the Soviets versus Polish War of 1920. I confess I know nothing about that at all.
No, I don't know. No.
Nothing about that at all. I might have to go and look it up, because that's kind of interesting. That's an interesting period. Period of history, I mean, because the equipment would be kind of fun for that. Who else we got here? Don says the Franco-Prussian War. It's pretty obscure to him. I like it, mate.
Actually, Don, I saw when I was looking through these obscure wars, there was one that took place in Ohio, and it was over a strip of land. I didn't really go into it because I was just browsing. But yeah, there was a small war that took place in. It might have been one of these ones where no fighting actually took place.
You could do thinking about that. You could actually do the Hatfield McCoy thing, because they actually had a pitched battle. Hatfield McCoy for you. Is the Battle of Grapevine? They actually had. Is it Grapevine? Yeah, they actually have a pitched battle, because they it threatened to actually blow up into a much bigger conflict, and like the state governors had to actually step in. But you could play Dead Man's Hand for some of the other stuff. You know, it's so incredibly well documented. And then there were some bigger actions, and then you could culminate it. You could have like a day-long thing.
Blimey.
That'd be quite cool.
Here we go. That's exactly what we need. I like that. I do like a good project for me is when you can do a bit of skirmish and then some big battles, and sort of build yourself up to the real biggies. I think that's cool.
Well, that's what I thought was quite cool about the Teutonic stuff, because they were constantly at, you know, and I think there's sometimes people look at eras and they're like, oh, they didn't actually fight that many battles. Well, no, there's no recorded stuff because no one bothers recording the skirmishes, especially in the medieval period, because they were always killing each other. You know, life was awful. So that was just commonplace. But so yeah, you know, I think you're right. If you can do something where you can fight smaller actions, a bit like with the Crusades and the Wars of the Roses, you know, you can fight these small battles and then really bring yourself up to something quite big.
Yeah, absolutely. Old School and Epic Armies both suggesting some of the battles in Texas. Texan War of Independence, which is obviously the Mexicans and the Alamo kind of piece, which is again this side of the pond. I don't know whether it's different on that side of the pond, but you don't see that very often fought out. I know, was it who was doing it? Somebody on the community was painting up a whole load of Mexican figures. I can't think what it was.
Robin is for the American.
Oh, Robin is he?
The US-Mexican War, which is after the Alamo.
Yeah. There's some interesting. That's some interesting battles, isn't it? Really interesting. Anglo-Zanzibar War was Tim's suggestion. I think we talked about that one already.
Yeah, that was the 38-minute one.
That's right, 38-minute, which is kind of interesting. Round Monkey, what a great name. The War of the Stray Dog.
Oh, yeah.
Versus Greeks.
I read about that today. It was all started by a dog running from one country to the other. And so they weren't too keen. So they went across the border and shot a few people.
Well, as you do. I mean, did they ask for anyone from Britain or France to come and help them, or they just did it on their own?
I think it was one of those. It was, there was some contention where there was actually a dog that started it, but it did get that's how it's known now, as this dog wandered across the border and it ended up in fisticuffs.
Oh dear. Minnie Walmart says the cowboy wars of the early 1880s, the aftermath of the OK Corral gunfight, almost began a second civil war here. Interesting.
I watched Tombstone on Friday, so that's quite it's quite apt.
Very nice, very good. Is that where was it Ken that sort of was confused whether actually a Western game was actually historical or something?
Yeah.
I forget what he was. He gets very confused, doesn't he?
Westerns aren't classed as historicals, apparently.
Yes.
Yes, absolutely. And David Baker suggested the American-Philippine Wars. Oh, I don't know much about that one. Might have to go and look at
there were some horrific casualties on the Philippine side, and about 300,000 killed. Oof. The stuff I've learned by looking at these obscure wars over the past couple of weeks.
It's been great fun, hasn't it? It's been great fun. Right. I think there were so many suggestions. So go and check them out on the Facebook page and elsewhere. And keep posting them up there, because it'd be really interesting to see some. And as Martin says, if anybody does pick up any of these and decide to go forward with it, apart from me doing my one, because I definitely am going to do that. And Martin is definitely going to do his Teutonics.
Oh God,
he is. I know. No. He was only saying the other day he's got no more pointy stick wars to do, so he's going to do that.
Oh God. Yeah.
It's going to happen. He's not going to deny it. Right, we are coming towards the end. Thank you for all the suggestions on that, as ever. Really great suggestions. And as we've said many times, if you've got any suggestions for a period, or for a topic, this came through you guys. Shout them out, because it's always interesting to have them. and we're scraping the barrel sometimes. We keep having to go back to the same old topics. But anyway, I haven't actually loaded it. Or Phil for me. I haven't actually uploaded the
All right.
Hunter's pictures.
Oh,
I just realised I didn't put them on because our thing always.
Oh well, we'll
down.
just say. Well, let's say next week we're back on my channel. But Dom is not with us because he doesn't like. Basically, if it's not on Dom's channel, he doesn't want to be here.
No,
I only do mine now.
He only does his channel. He's got a new contract. But it's over on my channel, and we're doing the topic, which is partially inspired by the fact that there's a new shop that's opened near me. Is local shops for local people, and what makes a friendly local game store for you? Like, what do you want to see in it? Like seriously and jokingly, is it ranges? Is it gaming space? Is it a bit of everything? What is it you want to see? What is it you don't want to see? What is it that annoys you? What is it that you love? And then I imagine that at the end of this, we're probably going to work out why most of us should not run a shop and why we should. So that will be next week.
Mine will be bags of Watsits banned from the premises.
Do you think you should get Ian on just to sort of talk about the cold reality of actually running a store?
Yeah. Well, yeah. But then that will make us all sad, I'm going to guess.
Yeah, true. We always love that idea of doing it. Right, thank you for filling for me. I had pulled them all off, but I couldn't actually upload them because the whole thing doesn't allow you. Shut up, sniggering in the background.
So you're about bits and bobs, and
I know.
I tell you what, I'm confused by this new StreamYard setup. Is it different for you?
Well, it's all black.
Yeah.
Funky, isn't it? New
Very
setting,
funny.
apparently.
Mm.
Right. So yes, reminder, just some pictures from people who've been putting up on the Facebook page. We love seeing all the stuff people are working on, also their battles and what have you. So continue to do so. We can't show them all, but we'll show a selection that we see that we think are really cool. So hopefully give a big different flavour of different things that people are working on. So I'm going to start with Andy's Welsh.
Oh, these are lovely.
Warriors, 28 mil. They're gripping beasts, those are, aren't they?
Oh, nice. Yeah, Dark Age Warriors.
Really
I like those.
I guess that's going to be for Saga or something like that.
There's so many that you could use them for. If you've done like that. But yeah, Saga's always a good bet.
Good job, Andy. Thank you. Edward has done a really nice British Peninsula commander for his Napoleonic British army.
Yeah, it was his first Napoleonic figure.
Yeah,
what?
Something like that.
Yeah,
I mean, he's done an amazing job. I don't even know what manufacturer that is. It's a really nice figure. Yeah, really cool. Somebody will have to explain what Lewis has painted here. Custodian Guard.
Adeptus Custodes.
Okay.
They're cool. I like those. I mean, I don't know if I could bring myself to paint that much copper. No, very cool. Very nice basing as well.
There's a lot of gold and stuff there. Much safer ground for me. Alid and his 15 mil German.
Crikey, that's a lot of armor. A lot of armor.
I think he told me. I just forgot. He has about 100 of these to do.
Wow. Good grief.
Nice stuff, though.
Oh, apparently Edward says that commander came in the Warlord starter set. Okay. Good stuff. Now, our man Don, if he hasn't fallen off his chair drinking tequila all night, he was playing a game of Marvel Crisis.
Oh, yeah. He's apparently quite enamoured with that. And he's also got into this Quars War as well.
Oh, my goodness.
That's all stocked in that new local game shop that I've been in. They've got a whole selection of the Quars War, including like the little blisters with all like the special weapons teams and all that kind of stuff.
I need to paint mine. I've got some base coated, but I've not really done any work on them.
Wow, fantastic. We talked about some of the AWI games. This was Dan's. It was a gaming day featuring lots of AWI Black Powder games. There were loads of pictures. I just took this one because it showed the whole room of games. There's some real good close-ups of the actual battles. Well worth it. Some lovely figures. Really, really nice. Got me thinking I need to do some more AWI amongst all the other stuff. And I love this one. Samuel posted this. This was a picture this was a figure that his 5-year-old gave him because he said it reminded him of Daddy with an axe.
I mean, that's an amazing paint job and an amazing present. I think you need to go to the doctor.
Samuel, I don't know whether I'm more worried about you or your kid with that one. But there you go.
But
very nicely done.
That's a lovely model. It's got Nurgle all over it.
Jeez. Greg has been working on his War of the Roses Men at Arms. This is
nice.
Roger Kynaston.
Kynaston, yeah.
Kynaston, that's it. Thank you. Lovely. I like the armor on those. Nice and shiny. Very good indeed.
Really nice.
Some weird stuff from Mark. Who doesn't need an undead elephant?
Did I read this?
Yeah.
Did I read this? That's a metal kit.
Yes. Yeah.
Holy smoke. Wow. Okay.
It's got to weigh at like 12 pounds.
I saw Robin's comment in this, which is your elephant needs feeding.
It certainly does. Another War of the Roses. This is Joachim's first War of the Roses battle.
Excellent.
Nice.
Yes. I knew you'd approve, Martin.
Nice. Absolutely.
Back into the weird stuff. This is Matthew's Norska Chaos Spawn.
Oh, yeah.
What I wrote down. I mean,
very nice.
No idea, but I like tactical.
Yes, I said that is grotesquely awesome.
Yeah, it is pretty horrible. Talking about historical Wild West games, this is Paul's Wild West game that he was playing.
Cool.
Laying out all his buildings. He reckons he's got enough. I think he probably does too.
Yeah.
Stephen, I like these. These are kind of cool.
Oh, blimey.
This is his Gandalf figure. They're old ones, aren't they?
They're old school Citadel.
Yeah.
1980s Citadel. Very nice.
So nice job, Stephen, on those. And this one got me very excited. This was Nick's Black Powder ACW battle. I mean,
lovely.
That's awesome. That was, I forget which battle it was, but that's
I love the ragtag look of those Confederates on
there. Troublemaker.
Very nice. Very, very nice.
And finally, for now, we'll see these in a few weeks' time at Craiccon up close and personal. This is Stefan's Union forces for the battle that he's playing.
Nice.
There's a couple.
You look like you could do about 2 foot more aboard there.
What fool will give him that? So there you go. Thank you to everyone who puts their pictures up. Really appreciate it, as I say. Some awesome stuff. So next week, Martin's channel.
Yeah.
And I won't be around, I'm afraid. I'm off on holiday. Again.
Again.
Part-timer, honestly.
I know. I am. But I'll see you in a week or so after that. Hope everyone has a really good week. Thank you for all the involvement in the chat. It's been great as ever. Much appreciated. Stay safe and stay well and have a good couple of weeks gaming. And I'll see you when I'm back. Tell you bye.
See you, everybody.
See you later. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.